Okay guys, so today, as you can see, I have planned something, my goodness, a double stepper. So let's do that today. Again, scrap your stash or start from stash, whatever it is, use your stash. If any of the items I use are still available though, I will go ahead and link them in the description box, possibly embed in the video, just depending on the affiliate program. That would be an affiliate link, which means I'll make a small commission for your purchase items to those links. So the day we made a stepper, just your simple A2 stepper. You know, I've made these cards for, I mean, what, like 15, 20 years at least now? I don't even know. But I always just kind of come up with the numbers every time I do it. And so this time I want to have a little template. So I'll just always have this like in my stash ready to go, right? It is different. I don't even know what papers I'm going to use. Obviously, this is kind of thin. This is going to be a 5x7. So this is going to go into a 5x7 envelope. So it's a little bit larger. But I hope you guys will enjoy it. So like I've talked about with steppers, doesn't matter if it's only one side, this middle thing, wherever you want to put it, you're always going to want to have a half measurement. So just like if this was a 5x7 card, if I open this back up, it's going to be a 5x7 card. And then the other measurements you're going to make up on your own, or maybe you use the ones I used. But basically what goes up must come right back down. So 5x7, obviously the score line's at 5 inches, right? So 5 inches deep right here. And that one is actually down here if I was to pop this up. So for this card, I just came up with numbers however I felt like. And I usually do half the first time. So 2.5 is the next score line. And then 2.5 again, right? Because it came up, it has to go back down. It has to go back down. And then from there, you still have 5 inches left of paper to mess with. So I think my next increment was 1.5 inches up, 1.5 inches down. That's 3 inches. And then I have 2 inches left, right? So inch up, inch down. Like super easy. I just wanted it to be very easy as far as those numbers. If you don't like the way that looks, you want this maybe a little more gradual, maybe you want this one halfway, then, you know, come up with your own numbers. But you are going to end up with a very small thing down here. So I kind of wanted it to still be a good sizable amount there. So let's just get started. I am having allergies all of a sudden right now, so I'll probably be taking a lot of pauses, guys. Sorry, I hope it doesn't mess the flow, and hopefully they just stop doing what they're doing, because that's why I paused right now. I had to, like, sneeze. Okay, 5x7. So your cardstock is 8.5 by 11 if you're using A2 size. You definitely want this 7 inches tall and then 10 inches in the other direction. So 8.5, I'm going to cut 1.5 inches off. Hopefully I don't do my math wrong like I did. Not too, I guess, kind of recently. So that should leave 7 inches. Let's make sure. Yeah, the last time I did 1/2 inch, and anyway, it doesn't matter, in the other direction. And then by 10. So, right, regular 5x7. So 7 by 10 is what your cardstock needs to be. This is at 11 inches on this side, so I'm going to take 1 inch off. But whatever, as long as you have a piece of cardstock that ends up 7 by 10. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do my 5-inch score right now, okay, because that one is going to go right across. I don't like the look of having score lines on here if I'm not going to score it. So, I mean, you can definitely score at 2.5 inches, but you're going to have a line there. I don't like that. So I rather do the 5-inch, and then the rest of them I'll mess with. Now, the other thing I did on this one is, where do you want your stepper? Do you want it on the end? Then you only score over here. You know, you make your cut line. I put it down the middle. There's a double stepper. So I figured the best would be if this was at least 3 inches wide, and then I left 2 inches on either side. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe that's too thin right there, the 3 inches. Maybe you want 4 inches. Then your stepper's going to be much skinnier on the sides, right? Whatever numbers you want, do that. But what I did is I do want 3 inches in the middle. So you can imagine if you have 3 inches in the middle, that means there's 4 inches left to play with, right? So 2 on this side, 2 on that side. I'm going to do this here, but then I'm going to finish my score lines on my scoreboard just because it's easier. You can do it here too, right? You guys know I love doing that kind of thing here. But I'm going to do the cut lines first because to me that's easier. And this might seem crazy, but either way. So 2 inches in on either side. So I'm going to go 2 inches here. I'm going to line this up on 2 inches. And we're going to start at 2.5 is where I'm going to start cutting because that's going to be where my first score line is. Okay, and I just have little numbers here that says cut from 2.5, 2 inches in, all the way down to basically 9, leaving 1 inch at the bottom. So we're going to cut from 2.5 So we're gonna level this right at where 2.5 is, or so. It doesn't have to be like perfect, guys. So let's say 2.5, and we're gonna cut all the way down to 9 inches, basically leaving 1 inch at the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna just do it right now, 2.5 inches in, all the way down till I touch 9 inches. Okay. And you can imagine if that's 2 inches, this is a 3-inch space. We want to line this up at 5 inches now. Because at 5 inches, that's going to leave 2 inches over on the right side. We're already at 9, right? The way I cut. So I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to go from 9 all the way up to 2.5. So from here to 2.5. Okay. So I like having my cut lines there because when I go to my scoreboard, it's really easy for me to see where I need to stop scoring. Instead of, you know, just scoring, I don't know. It just seems better to me, so this is what I do. And let's put this here. I got a ton of scoreboards, I always say, and they're all kind of next to each other like this. So when I pull one out, the other one wants to come with it. So we have these pieces here. So I'm going to line this up over here. You can imagine this is where we start cutting at 2.5, okay, and then the 1 inch space down here. So 2.5 is the one I want up here. Now you can do your little scores at the top and then come and continue at the bottom, or turn it around this way. It doesn't really matter. You just need to get your score lines. So it is kind of a good gap that I have to skip from doing this one to this one, and I don't want to be off, even though I have some really good numbers here. I can see it really clearly, but I think I'm going to flip them like I said and then score it again. So for right now, on this very top one, you're going to score at 2.5 to that first cut line. So 2.5, and, you know, try to make it nice and neat. We already have the 5-inch score. From there, I'm going to score at 6.5 because I want a 1.5-inch space right here. So 6.5, right to that cut line. And then again, another 1.5 inches from there, which would be 8 inches. And we are going to leave an inch at the bottom. So the next inch is 9. Okay, guys, this is super simple. Okay, we'll repeat it again. Nail polish. Anyway, 2.5, the 5 is already there. 6.5, 8, and 9. So I'm going to flip this, because if I just turn it over, you're going to be wrong. I mean, you can start doing 1 inch, whatever, and go backwards, but I'm just going to flip it, guys. So it's the same numbers. So 2.5. You're going to score this all funky anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 5 is already there. 6.5. 8. And then 9. Right? That's all we need, guys. So I want you to take a look. Again, we'll talk about this. Our paper is 10, right? 10 by 7. We're going to score it at 5, just like if it was a 5 by 7 card. And then we're going to turn it this way, you know. It doesn't really matter. I guess you can turn it however you want. But either way, you're going to start orienting now. You are going to cut from 2.5 inches all the way 2 inches in, from 2.5 down to 9. Same thing on this other side. 2 inches off this other side, from 2.5 down to 9. We're going to score 2.5. The 5 is already there. We're going to score 6.5, 8, and 9. Okay, on both sides. Now, I did overscore this a little bit, and that kind of drives me nuts, so I'm just going to push back on the paper there so it kind of flattens out. Look at that. Okay. Now, this part is always going to come up. So as this part comes up, this very centerpiece, the rest of them are going to go back. Right? So if that one goes back, that goes down, but it has to come back up. So it's always kind of awkward. It's going to go up, and then down, and then up. So that's what you're looking for. This guy's going to meet this. Back up, back down, back up. Right? It's just going to do it kind of on its own anyway. Okay, so now we're getting it. Now we're getting it. It does feel awkward when you're first trying to do this and when you're trying to give it a squish. But after you start getting it, like right now, it's coming in, it's coming in. Coming in hot. There we go. That is that. And just kind of square it up. At least that's what I do. I try to get it a little squared up and give it a good score, because we haven't done any of that yet. Right? You're scoring through like 6 pieces of cardstock there or more. And that is it, guys. Double stepper. Now, Last time what I did was I just made my own little matte layer here. It was a side stepper, you know what I'm saying? That was only steps on one side. But this time I think I'm going to do is go across this whole bottom with a matte layer and then this top part with a matte layer and then matte layers all in here. So let me grab a pen and let's just talk about this real quick. Let me put this away. And this is what happens. See, this has just been sitting here for the last however much. Put it back on here so we don't misplace it. And you do definitely want to give these a good squish, guys, because what happens is they want to like open up, you know. So you really need to like burnish, especially when you're all done with it and everything. Okay. See, it's already opening up right now. Okay, so we can imagine this is 7 by 1 inch. So this area. So I would like a piece of strip now, you know, I say 7, but 6 7/8 by 7/8, and then a top mat. I'm going to do 2 matte layers. That is going to be 6 3/4 by 3/4. Okay. Hopefully I didn't write too far out here. This area, I mean, I can do the math. Well, I mean, okay, it's 3 by 4, right? Because we took an inch off, so 3 by 4 in here. So 3 inches wide by 4 inches tall. So I'm going to say 2 7/8 by 3 7/8 for my first matte layer, and then the topper for that 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, then we have these little areas. If you want to decorate them, you don't have to, like whatever it is. This one's 1.5 by 2, right, in this area, and then this one is 2.5 by 2, but 1.5 by 2, so that means my first matte layer is going to be 1 3/8 by 1 7/8. And when I come up with my numbers, I'm not thinking about this way and that way. So it's really 1 7/8 by 1 3/8. Like here, I did width and then height. Here I'm doing height and width. Whatever. You're just going to have your numbers. And then the next matte layer should be 1 and... I said 1 3/8? Yeah, 1.5. Okay. I just want to make sure. 1 1/4 by 1 3/4. And this back one, again, is 2 inches wide by 2.5 inches tall. I don't know. Again, with my numbers, I'm going to say 1 7/8 by 2 3/8. Right? 2, but yeah. And then 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. And those are the matte layers we're going to need. So if you want to screenshot my messy little handwriting, you can do that. Here. I'll probably, and for both of them, right? So you're going to double that because you have 2 steppers on that side. This one is going to be long like this. So I've been using gold a lot recently. How about silver? I'll have to find some paper that coordinates with that if I use silver. But I have this Craft Companion pack and there's a ton of silver on here. So I think that's what I'll use. And some of these numbers might be the same, some of them might not. So I'm just going to cut them up. I don't care to try to make sense of these numbers. So like this one, 7/8. Hopefully that's nice and straight. By 6 7/8, right? I'll have to kick my arm out because I don't really know how big this paper is, so I'll just do that. 6 7/8. That's my first matte layer for this bottom strip right here. Funny enough, I picked silver when my paper's cream colored. Like I said, I just ran out of white paper. And I'm going to have to find something that coordinates with both things. I probably would have gone with gold. Anyway, again, just doing things like I do. I will say, oh, we have this larger piece, the background 2 7/8 by 3 7/8. So I think I can do that one with this going this way, 2 7/8. By 3 7/8. Yeah, and then maybe this will work for me somewhere else. Look, well, it's not gonna work for there. But anyway, sometimes you'll just have pieces that end up working for you, and that's cool. So yeah, I mean, this is already coming together. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna cut these guys again with these. You can double them and then cut them in half if that makes it easier for you, whatever it is you want to do. But I'm just gonna keep cutting until I have everything, and I'll be right back. I will say some of the numbers on these matte layers are the 1 7/8 is the same, 1 7/8 is the same right here. But if you have pattern paper, it might not help you to use those numbers, right? Because one of them is in the length, the other one's in the width or whatever. So something to think about, but for this part, it worked, you know, so that's good. All right, I'll be back. Now I'm bringing papers out from a long time ago. Look at this, Paper Discovery. Super pretty papers. Oh, this would be cute, but it's not going to be wide enough, I don't think, yet, the base, like the design of that. Oh, okay, this is cute. There's just like a small pattern. That would work for me. So we have that. And then maybe a larger pattern. That one's pretty. And then I'm trying to think of something at that bottom edge. Okay, these are all the same, obviously. I keep going through the same kind of papers. I thought there might be one that would work. Oh, this one? This one's out there. Okay. Again, I don't mind. I have tons of paper, just whatever. So for this one, the matte layers, 6 3/4 by 3/4. So I'm just going to cut this at 3/4. It's not that much there. And I will say, whenever it's this kind of recycled kind of paper feel, my paper trimmer recently, because I need a new blade, has been destroying it. So this might be a little messy, guys. Oh well. By 6 3/4. So 6 3/4. And I'm not going to waste your time, but again, we already talked about the matte layer sizes. Just do your matte layers. And so I'll have that one for this. This top one, I'm going to use this guy. That is 3 3/4 tall. So definitely this paper has a direction too, as you can see. Oh my goodness. Look at that. It does not like this kind of paper. And then 2 3/4 wide. Yeah. Okay. I should probably take this as a different trimmer. I don't know why I insist on using this. Okay. And then the last pink paper is this one. And again, this does also have a direction, so I'll pay attention to that, obviously, as I'm cutting my matte layers. So I'll be right back. Okay, guys. So I have all my matte layers. I'm going to take a moment to just clean them up so those nasty little burrs don't just hang out everywhere. I got to order my trimmer blades. I ordered a set of them last time, but I didn't. I only ordered one. I should probably order quite a few next time I place an order on Spellbinders. But anyway, so just going to layer up our matte layers. And that's very pretty. Again, I probably wouldn't have gone with the cream colored background, but that's all right. So all our matte layers, I'm going to clean them up. Again, that's nothing you need to worry about. And glue them together. I have my 2 for the back stepper portion, again in the right direction. See how the paper kind of goes up and down. And then these guys in the right direction also. Okay, we have everything layered up. So now I'm going to bring them over and pop them on to my project. And you can, open the card up. You don't have to decorate it while it's up like this. If you want to open it back up flat, you can definitely do that. So that guy goes there. This guy goes on here. And again, the papers are slightly different, all from the same paper pack, so it coordinates, but they are a little bit different from each other. And that looks pretty cool. And then again, these guys, the smaller ones, I'm going to glue in here. And then these guys, I'll glue back here. Yay, our numbers are correct, and I didn't have to come back and splice anything in and tell you, oh no, So anyhow, I just pop these in here. But again, if you want to lay this flat, you can definitely do that. It would be much easier, guys. But that looks pretty good. I can see left to right. It's good. And then this one, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Off camera, I'm not going to waste more of your time. There we go. And I mean, you can also give it a squeeze just so you know everything's nice and flat. And then I'm going to have to find something to finish this card off with. So I will do that probably by the time I come back. Okay, so I need like a sentiment. I need like some stuff. I went to Anna Griffin. I don't know that I'll use this because the flowers are so different, the styles. But these are China cabinet flowers. You know, maybe we get a sentiment from here. Maybe you do birthday cakes from here. Who knows? Whatever it is you want. Ooh, look at this. Okay, so we do have a shape that we would like. Wishing you a fantastic birthday. Happy birthday to you. It brings some of that cream color from the back. How about that? Okay, let's go with that one. I would go with an oval one just for funsies, but you know, whatever you want. Balloons would look great on here. I mean, the cakes, again, with the flowers. That's a really fun set, and I don't like to tease you guys with those things because I know they don't have those anymore on HSN at least. I don't know if Anna Griffin herself might have them somewhere on her site. You know, you can bring stuff like this in, right? I mean, we have all these things. So what's cute about that is they can hang off the edge. I wouldn't have it hanging off the top because this is 5 by 7, if you can imagine, you know. So let's pretend let's say we had that there. I don't know. I kind of like maybe the look of this coming down around here, you know, because that's the whole point of like having the stepper and it's fun. So maybe we do that there. And then these are just flourishes that I have, obviously. I mean, cute, but maybe we just leave it like that, but that looks too plain. I need some color. So let's see. You know what I'm saying? Since these are very interesting flowers that we have on here and they're all different. Okay, let's pretend that we're going to have this here. So if that's the case, I'm going to stick it down already just to commit, guys. That was fun. I just kind of looked through my stash and I'm like, maybe this one, maybe this. Honestly, a birthday cake on here would look really cute because the flowers are just there to be pretty, you know, and everything. Oh, come on. I can peel a little more off this. I'm leaving that carrier, although honestly, you should probably take it off. And if you do that and you don't want to stick to everything, obviously, you could definitely hit it with like an embossing buddy. Where would that be if I had this here, huh? Right down the center, so this guy can be like here. Okay. I'm really just sticking that down where it can, that's not going to stick, but that's all right. That guy. Oh, how cute is that? But I would want it facing the other way. I came across that same one the other day on a card, and I was like, yeah, that one's not going to work. I mean, this one has like a rounded look to it that would work. And I always say, I don't want to waste your time, but here we are. Oh, look at this one. But then, you know, these flowers don't really... Well, maybe. I was going to say, they don't really go with anything. Because we have all these fun flowers in the back. Oh, the wildflower collection probably has something that would match. Because these roses, I feel like, nah. Okay, let me go through this. I just don't want to pull out anything else. But, oh, that's the one I was looking for, I think. I wanted the stem facing in. Okay, that's it. That's it, guys. And then, you know, just let the prettiness of your paper do the talking. If you want to add some more stuff in the background, obviously you can do that. But for right now, I think, let me see, I want this kind of in here. Kind of in there. Kind of not liking that after all. Hold on. Kind of want this in the front, but I feel like it's not super natural looking. Okay, let's put that over here. Okay, right there, I guess is where I would want that to be. This is also a sticker, so let's take the back off of that. And I'll clean up, and then we'll look at our handiwork. Cute, yeah, that's better. It's not quite down the center, but I think it looks cute where it is. Maybe a little further up. Oh my goodness. Why is this one giving me so much attitude? There we go, something like that. Here and here. Could go over a little more this way. Hold on. Again, since that's all we're kind of focusing on, I want it to be perfectly straight. Okay, let me put some of these things away. I'll be right back. Okay, guys. I mean, that is my card. What are you guys thinking? I feel like recently I've just been putting them out there. Just lots of different things. Really fun. I mean, I love that background paper being like the most focal. If you wanted it to blend back in, I mean, you could use one of the, you know, with the smaller pattern or a lighter pattern like this one. But I like the way that looked. And then it just happened to come together. I think it's really fun with all these kind of like wildflower kind of looks coming in. And then I think that's just pretty because all the matte layers and everything, the paper's gorgeous. Like, you don't don't need more than that, right? You don't need to have a bunch of stuff sticking out. But if you want to, you can definitely pop things here and there, and in the back, just minding you're 5 inches tall. A little bit different in the matte layering, right? How we did this bar across the front. I think that really just grounds everything. Grinds everything? No. And then again, the matte layers can be different. I just kept those the same because they're kind of just there, So again, you're 5 by 7. I already set all the measurements several times, so please go back and check that out. Again, I wrote down the matte layers. You can check those out. Of course, matte layer, whatever you like, especially if you're making up your own card, it'll be great. It doesn't have to have 3 ups and downs. You can just do 2. Like if you want this one to be higher and then kind of split the difference with the next one, it could just be 1 here and 1 here. You don't have to have this one there. However it is you want to design them, it's going to be a lot of fun. And this card feels weighty and awesome, and I'm super happy with the way this came out. So, thanks for watching, guys. I will have images coming up. I'll have the links in the description box. I did mention that I do have some steppers in my Cricut, like on my little Cricut whatever page, that were free. And I was like, how did I do that? Because it has a cut line and I don't have free cut lines. A gal here, Winifred, I want to say it was Winifred, from a few days ago, and I'm like, okay, that name is distinct. I will remember. I think that's what she said. She said, just go ahead and use a score line. And then, add your score lines. Score lines are free in Cricut Design Space. If you want to do a cut line, you have to pay for access if you're making up your own things. And then she said, highlight it, and go into line type or cut type. And it's just usually up in the top left corner, and choose cut. And I was like, oh, that's true. Because, when you're using like lettering or whatever, you might want to say, oh, I want this to be a line. I want it to be scored or whatever. Anyway, you can choose the different kind of ways that you want that image or that cut to be used. You can draw it, right? You can say draw or whatever. So she says to click cut and it'll make a cut line for you, and it's free. I was like, ooh, that's a good hack. So hopefully you guys heard this, and thank you so much for that tip. And I was like, did I already know that? Like, I don't know how I designed a card in there that's a stepper, unless it was pieces and you had to put it together. I don't remember, guys, but I do have a few steppers that are free there. But anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. I will see you all at the next one. All right, bye now.